And you will see in the great battles, the great struggles when they were under great pressure, especially in the Battle of Tabuk. You will see before how he gathered together the companions and let them understand, what was the need of the community, and they were striving within themselves to come forward, with the wealth that Allah had blessed them with, in the path. And tonight we want to look at the Islam, the development of Islam in the Northern Territories. And alhamdulillah, this is a recent phenomenon that is going on. And by the mercy of Allah Azza wa Jal, there are Muslims going to the far north, there are centers that are coming. But these Muslims, of course, are extensions of our communities here. And we, naturally, are extensions of the Muslim world itself. And last May, I was invited by the community to Iqaluit. They are in Nunavut. And I had been spending some time in Inuvik. Many of you may have heard of the Northwest Territories. Have any of you heard of the Masjid of the Midnight Sun? Raise your hand if you heard of it. Okay, so some have. Those of you who haven't, you can Google this. Google is the new source of knowledge. But you can Google it. Go into Masjid of the Midnight Sun. And then you can see, even get something on YouTube, which talks about the story of this development of the masjid in the Arctic Circle on the western side of the country. On the western side, the Northwest Territories. And this was amongst the native people, the Inuvialuit and the Gwich'in. They do not call themselves Eskimos. We use this term, the term was being used by, the colonial system, Eskimos, like fish eaters or something. It was like a derogatory term. They don't use that term, Eskimo, although many of us have, learned this term originally. And there in Inuvik, we established, the masjid is there, the community is starting to grow, but we established a dawah program for the first time, going to the public to let them know about Islam, and then also inviting them into the masjid. This side, this was in May 2012, that I went there and alhamdulillah met the community and made intentions to assist in this project because of the importance. Alhamdulillah, we have some of the members of the community here with us tonight who will give you even more direct insight as to what actually this project is. If sisters want to come out here now, you can come out and be in a place where you can see in the back. It's not a problem. This land, Nunavut, and we need to now get familiar with Canadian geography, because we tend to only know the lower areas, especially our hockey teams, and whatnot, and, not really understanding the full geography of the country. But the word Nunavut in the Inuit language, which is our land, Inuktitut is the language itself. And of course, the people on the eastern side, they are not Gwich'in and Inuvialuit. They're Inuits. So the terminology they use for themselves is Inuit. It's not Eskimos. Okay? So in their language, Nunavut means our land. And this is a settlement there in Nunavut. This is in the far frozen north. Remember, I took this picture and I was flying in a plane in May. Now, right? Now. And that's what it looks like outside. As we flew over the Northern Territories there, we reached the place of Inuvik. Now, Inuvik, this circle here, this is the Arctic Circle. And so the countries now, this is why the countries are skewed, around the circle, because it's like looking from top down on the earth. And on the western side of Canada, the red and pink, this is Canada. Okay, the blue is United States, Greenland, right? This is Russia here, on this side. And over here is Inuvik. So Inuvik is inside the circle. It's inside the snow. And then on the eastern side of our country is Iqaluit. Right? There is Iqaluit here. So it's basically Arctic. There's the circle right here. It's an Arctic area. Here's Greenland there. And this is now becoming a very important area in the world, partly because of the unfortunate misuse of technology and the creating of global warming. The ice in the north is melting. And you can actually travel across the northern part, of the world in areas where you couldn't go before. And they realize that there's minerals up there, there are oil reserves, there are a number of things up in the north, and so this territory is becoming more and more important. And our brother, Sayyid Asif Ali, who's here from the community, Alhamdulillah, has made a great achievement. We want to congratulate him and say Mubarak to him because he's the first Muslim. He reached to the furthest northern point in the world. Okay, and this is called Alert. It's Alert. And recently, Sayyid Asif this year, it was in February, went up to Alert area. He is a boiler inspector and engineer, right? And he went to Alert, which is right here. That's the furthest point. This is your magnetic poles that are up here, right? Right at the top of the world. He reached to Alert. And the people signed their names, and it looks like this is the first Muslim that made it up there. So alhamdulillah, this is another achievement for our community.
Takbir!
May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala give us the blessings of Ibn Battuta and people like this who have reached the far ends of the earth. So this is the northern territories, and all of these sections here, in these little communities, Muslims are starting to come. In the area of Yellowknife, Whitehorse, there's larger communities, but then up here, there's Muslims are coming up. In the area of Iqaluit, Muslims are going there for employment because you can get better jobs there than in Ottawa and Montreal. The pay is good, and you go north there. And this is the Arctic archipelago. Again, this is a picture that I took from the plane, right, in May, as you go far north. But this is the time when the snow breaks. The snow breaks in May. In Nunavut, the snow breaks in June. It doesn't break because it's high, right? But this is the time when the snow is breaking. And Iqaluit is a place of many fish. This is the meaning in the native language. And this is the end of May. That's me in May, arriving there, which is a shocking thing to see in May. But with the weather going down to 1 degree, like when it was like this when I reached Nunavut, and the brothers came with t-shirts on, right, because it was like 0 degrees. And interestingly enough, the civilization here, this is Aboriginal First Nation writing system. So they've instituted this, put their language into this writing system. And we hope, inshallah, to eventually have translations of the meaning of the Quran into this language. Right? This will be an achievement for us. Because these languages date back over 10,000 years. People expressing themselves in these languages. And these are the indigenous people, the Inuit people. And they actually have done many things. There are many innovations made by the First Nations people, which are not really recognized. Today, when the winter comes, everybody puts on their hoodies, right? We have a hoodie, right? So you put on your hooded parkas. This is actually the clothes of the people of the North. And they adapted these clothes a long time ago in order to survive in the bitterly cold temperatures of the North, and also because the sun actually disappears. Like in the winter season, it's dark for long periods of time. And when I went to Nunavut for the first time, and then it was time for Maghrib Salat, brothers said okay, and then we made Maghrib, but the sun was outside. And then we made Isha, and the sun was outside. Then I went back to the room to relax, and it was 12:30, 1 o'clock at night, and the sun was outside. The brothers came for Fajr, it was around 4:30, and the sun was outside. It's the land of the midnight sun. The land of the midnight sun, because this was in June. And this is an important issue. I was carrying a fatwa from the Canadian Council of Imams, because the community there had a little mini dispute and crisis, because Ramadan is coming in the summer now. And if the sun doesn't set, you have a problem with iftar, right? You got a serious problem with iftar. So the ulama, alhamdulillah, have, dealt with this, and we look at the traditions of the last days, in the time of Dajjal, when it is said that, a year would be like a day, and there would be like a month like a day, a week like a day, and then there'll be normal days. And they said to the Prophet ﷺ, how are we going to make salat? And he told them, to use taqdeer. Right? And that is, you estimate your times. And so from this, the ulama have extracted that either, if you're in a far-off territory, either you use Meccatul Mukarramah as your base, because that's the sort of the base of the Muslim world, or you use the closest reasonable place. The closest reasonable place where there is a sunrise and sunset and reasonable. And the Canadian Council made the decision for them that they can use Winnipeg. Because Winnipeg is central. It's south central in Canada. It's reasonable. So now they use Winnipeg there for their times. In Iqaluit, they're using basically Ottawa. They're on the side of Ottawa, so they're using like Ottawa for the times there. So this is the indigenous peoples, and this is the territories there in the north. And this, of course, is the famous igloo, where people used ice. It's so cold that they innovated and used ice, and inside of it you put skin, and it becomes warm inside. So you can survive in bitterly cold temperatures using ice as your protection there in the snow. So this is an igloo, and you can see they're inside actually at nighttime, inside of the igloo, surrounded by snow. And this is the original parkas or the hoodies, they call them in America. Right, I was just testing mine along with their original ones that they have. Now we have Canadian Goose. We have our companies now that we wear. But these were originally, this is the original dress of the people up north. And interesting to see the dress. It looks Islamic. Look at the kufi he has on. Right, kurta, pajamas. Right, it's like almost like an Islamic style, dress. And we know that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has said, I did some studying of the native peoples, and Allah said clearly to us in Surah An-Nahl, وَلَقَدْ بَعَثْنَا فِي كُلِّ أُمَّةٍ رَسُولًا أَنْ يَعْبُدُوا اللَّهَ وَاجْتَنِبُوا الطَّاغُوتَ. Verily we have sent to every nation a messenger, that they stay away, they worship one God and stay away from false gods. So prophets came to this part of the world at some point in time. And you will see within the folk traditions and customs of the people, you will see Tawheed was amongst the Aboriginal peoples as well as Shirk, and similar to the time of the Prophet ﷺ in Jahiliyyah Arabia. So this is the survival kit that you have in the north, made of the skins and the wools. And interesting because even how they do the designs, there's almost like Bedouin style things, and I've seen this in different parts of the Muslim world. Something looks similar to this. Okay, the design patterns like that. Okay, so this is a human innovation. Again, and then they fish in the ice also. They've adapted their lifestyle. And the early Inuit vessels even look like some of the early Arab dhows and other boats that used to go out into the seas from the Muslim world. So we actually do have things in common. And if you find people in the north who are on the fitrah, who can go back to their native traditions, there's a lot of similarities with Islam. And so this is the frozen wasteland of the north as I come closer. And finally, alhamdulillah, I've landed in Iqaluit airport. Okay? And this again is in May, but you can see the ground now, the snow is breaking. So this is now going into your spring season, which eventually will go into summer. And the summer is similar to here. So this is the town of Iqaluit itself, there in the frozen north. And this is the tallest building in the town. Okay, and yeah, this is different shots of the town itself. Of course, in the summer, the snow melts, and then you have, you know, a lot of water around you, inlets and whatnot, and it's different in the summer. The Christians, of course, have been very active in the north, converting people to Christianity and whatnot, and this is one of their churches, and they use this style in Nunavut as well, there. So this is the town itself as you move around. This is what it looks like. And they don't have basement. They don't go down into the ground because the earth is permafrost. And the permafrost is solid. You cannot go down into the ground. And so they do the work, even your heating, all your different things they do above ground. So you have to do some work to go in. This is a temporary masjid right now. So there are brothers who have rented this place. And the Jummah is held inside. This is our brother Sayyid Asif, who's here today, going into the masjid. And this brother Jerry is an Inuit man, educated, and he has made the intention to do the translations and whatnot. So there are people from the Inuits who have embraced Islam from their mind, from hidayah, not marriage. We're usually connected with getting married to a Muslim. But here, there are people out of conviction who are embracing Islam. And this is a really good sign. That's a really good sign when you have that. And he is one of the people who have embraced. And this is Colonel Sayyid, who is here today, alhamdulillah, who's a chief boiler inspector for the northern areas. He deals with the heat, right? So that's a very important man in the north. Alhamdulillah, we have a Muslim brother who's providing heat. That's real Santa Claus, right? You know Santa Claus? He's supposed to be from up there too, right? That's the real Santa Claus. If he turns on, you're going in. This is the khutbah of Jummah. The flag there is part of the, enthusiasm of the Libyan brothers, right? The flag, that's not a permanent thing there. But there are Libyans in the group. And of course, we hope for Libya and Tunisia and Egypt and all of our countries the best, inshallah, in terms of establishing an Islamic state. So this is the khutbah of Jummah there with the Jama'ah. Brothers from different parts of the world, Muslim world, are there in the group. Yeah, and then a meal is there after the Jummah. And we conducted the first webinar. We did a webinar connected to one of the groups in Toronto, which was beamed around the world from Nunavut itself online. We had online discussion. This time the discussion was about Islamophobia. Islamophobia. So we did a special presentation which was beamed around the world from Nunavut itself, there, which was another achievement for us far in the north. So the topic was the onslaught of Islam in the 21st century, Islamophobia, a growing phenomenon. Churches are being erected now. Other churches are coming up, right? And Inuit people are embracing Islam. Alhamdulillah. And so the Islamic Center needs to be established. And this is where it takes us now in terms of the movement of the community. And I want to introduce Colonel Sayyid to you to give you a few words about the community itself there. And we want to say Mabruk for reaching the North Pole, inshallah.
Assalamu alaikum, brothers and sisters. I'm really not Ibn Battuta. I was just in search of my bread and butter for my family, and that took me to that northern corner of the world. Alhamdulillah, my inspiration about this Masjid Islamic Center, just want to go a little background on that, and then I'll let you know why we feel this Islamic Center is very, very important for us as a Muslim. I had a very wonderful job in Toronto, and just for heck of it, I applied as a chief boiler inspector for Nunavut, and I didn't know how it is pronounced. Even I joined, and I didn't know how to pronounce it. And I got a call, I got selected. There was a huge money, but I already had a good job, so I decided not to go, but I had to convince my wife. So I made the complete statement, and I was just sitting before her and telling her, you know what, I don't want to go there because there is no mosque. And she promptly replied, she said, this makes all the good reason you should go and establish one. Alhamdulillah. That is a great thing, she said to me. And I decided, yes, I got to go and do this job. And alhamdulillah, when I reached there, my job was to go in every community and take care of, inspect their waters if they're according to the code and everything. But as the community, as the north is, every community is well spread and no two communities are joined together by road. So you fly in, even you have to go 100 kilometers, you have to fly in. So sometimes you're flying and you're waiting for a plane and it doesn't arrive for a week or so. So that was a good chance to get communication with the community and get to know them and talk to them. And I realized, as Shaykh said, there have been prophets all over in one time or the other. The basic value of Inuit people is exactly what we follow in Islam. They take care of their elders. They are family oriented. They have all the values which we have in Islam. The only thing they don't have a formalized religion which was not introduced to them in this modern time. When you talk to any person in a community, you realize all the values they are carrying is the same exactly what we practice in Islam. So we started communicating more with the brothers and sisters. There was a guy in my department. One day he came up and he said he wants to learn Arabic. And I said, why do you want to learn Arabic? And then he broke and he said, you know, I want to learn about Islam. And he has never seen probably any Muslim before or had any intimate, chat with a Muslim. And I took him to my home, and another brother, Zahabi, who is more learned than me, he introduced him what Islam is. And guess what? 3 days down the road, he was in this temporary masjid, and he took Shahada. And he said, this was what I was looking for all my life, and it was right there and I didn't know. There was another sister, she was the director of public relations, and she was working with another brother there from Libya, from Palestine, and he introduced her what Islam is. And she said, I was looking for that forever. So what I realized in the north, that the message has not reached. And whose duty is that? There is no prophet who will come. It is our duty to spread this message in that portion where it has not reached. That's the inspiration. This is not just another one masjid, as we make 100 and 100 of them. This masjid is going to establish to bring qualified people from the south to do the work of dawah. And our community conviction is that if this masjid is established, Islam is going to grow and spread fast in the north. So it is really very important for us to help this. We are registered with the government for the last 3 years. We are working, and I'm really thankful on behalf of the community to Brother Abdullah Hakim, Quick Sheikh. He made so much effort for us, and he spearheaded this project. We are also thankful to Talab Foundation, who is from the Winnipeg. They are the same organization who sent the masjid, prefabricated masjid to Inuit. They are supporting us. The material has already reached there. The land is about to be given to us. It's going through the rezoning. We need about 200,000. We already raised about 85,000 with effort of brothers, and especially Brother Abdullah Hakim Quick. And we really need your support, because that is the place from where we will have a jump-off point. And we are going to spread this message of Islam every nook and corner of Nunavut. Nunavut, if you want to just know how big it is bigger than the entire Western Europe. And it has a population of about 50 to 60,000. So this mass of land is still without message of Islam. You talk to anyone there, and they said, this is what they're looking for. So we need to make this message reach to them. So that is the reason it's very, very important. My son still lives there with the family. There are so many families, as brother said, they moved from south because of the job. There are lots of jobs there. There are lots of government jobs there. There's a lot of work to do. They are deprived people. They need our help. And I think this is the best project I can ever come across in my 30 years of professional life. And inshallah, with your help, we will one day have that masjid there. And inshallah, we will spread message of Allah there. Inshallah. Thank you. Assalamu alaikum.
Yeah. Okay, so we're not the type of fundraisers who put you under a lot of pressure and whatnot. It's something which is in the time of the Prophet, it's a natural thing to come out of you. I mean, we're only looking at this community somewhere in the area of say $50,000, dollars. That would be a great achievement for us. Alhamdulillah, about 5,000 or so was collected at Jumu'ah today. So from amongst your ranks, if there are people who can come forward, somebody wants to give 10,000, 5,000, 1,000, whatever it is. We don't want to put you under pressure because the project is clear what it is, and Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala will bless you. There's no loss, as you know, in giving sadaqah. There's no loss to your wealth. There's actually an increase and a blessing when you give in the path of Allah azza wa jalla. So can anybody start now? And is anybody who would like to give something forward to come forward with an amount? Especially if it can be 10,000, that would be beautiful. Or because we're looking to get around for 50,000.
1,000.
Okay, 1,000 there. So write that down. Sayyid will take your name down and whatever else. Our sister's also there. Yes, sister. Okay, there's a sister there in the back also for 1,000. Can you take the name of the sister that in the back? Okay, any other brothers here would like to give, toward the project as well? 2,000. Alhamdulillah. Alhamdulillah. Takbir.
Allahu Akbar.
May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala bless you and, accept what you're doing, in this path. Now,
Ameen.
let's open up the floor again for anybody else who would like to give forward. His brother in the back here. Is it two? No. 1,000 in the back here as well. Sayyid will come around. Is there any other pieces of paper? Somebody else can record some of the names of the people who have done that.